Hello and welcome to the Roundtable Podcast. I am Shogun. Today we have a very special edition of the Roundtable Podcast, being the first edition of our 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which is being run by none other than the legendary Nayrb Derg, and it is called The Lost Mines of Phandelver. So please remember, you can find us on BitChute, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and pretty much everywhere else, but especially on the Roundtable Discord server where this is taking place. That being said, welcome my friends and fellow adventurers. Welcome Nayrb Derg, our noble dungeon master. I will now pass the mic to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Now, without further ado, if everyone is ready, we can begin.
Ready?
Begin we shall.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Andiamo.
Currently, it is the year 1490 of a medieval era, of a time long, long, long ago, in a distant land, far beyond the south, in frigid, arid mountains of snow and grazing fields, lies the sword coast of many villages, of many cities, of many towns, of which are growing and bustling in the midst of the medieval era, an era of magic, of wonder, of exploration and adventure. Currently, with it being roughly the first day of Tawsak, roughly around the spring equinox, stands a group of noble adventurers. Recently, these wonderful adventurers have been given a relatively formal invite from none other than Gundred Rockseeker, a rather loud and boisterous shield dwarf that appears to have found his weight in gold in a job. This strange dwarf, as it seems, mentioned for the party to meet up with them at what is known as the Beached Leviathan, a former private pirate vessel that gave up its days of pillaging to become a new permanent fixture in the port of the large city of Neverwinter to the northwest. As the party, being native to Neverwinter, sort of roughly early in the morning, 7 a.m., all of you are gathered roughly in the delicate but yet elegant Seven Suns Coster Market, where great archways lead into the courtyard with a plastered building decorated in shades of ochre and mustard. Banners of red fabric stretched across the courtyard provide shade for the bustling market below, where crowds of citizens browse the well-stocked stalls that line each and every wall. With that being said, the sun shining brightly on a relatively nippy morning, all 5 of you, standing here in the market district, with the cool air about you, a breath of fresh air, and a sense of adventure. Perhaps this is the time to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Phineas Cave, and I take the center of the stage. I'm a halfling bard, and I like to sing. Now, yes, that's all I have for thee.
Going down the line, Maximilian.
My name is Max Min. I was invited onto this journey, and I'm lost, searching for a goal in life. Sure, I'll find one. Done.
Okay, Omega.
Hello, I am Dishpan and Hearthfire, and I'm a cleric of Lawful Good alignment.
Well, it is an honor to meet you, cleric friend. I happen to be a paladin of lawful good alignment and devotee of Pelor, the god of the sun.
Dexter?
Hello, all. My name is Boom, and like my name, my backstory is very simple. See, I just come from a small village, to which you probably not have heard the name of, but I've just been a farmer for all my life, and I look for adventure now.
In the midst of you chatting amongst each other and properly getting your bearings, since all of you, being roughly friends, either of a time past or have recently met, all of you can hear the roughly sounding, bustling sounds of the market district, ever so present, and of course the annoying bard and the bartender, playing ever so softly in that wonderful pirate vessel as you proceed to enter. And as you proceed to enter, you can clearly see, upon the arrival of the beached Leviathan, Gundred Rockseeker, the loud and boisterous shield dwarf, welcomes the party.
Oh, well met, my friends. Don't worry about whatever you got plans for your drink. Around the proper dwarven stout for the table, I'm declaring this meat a declaration and celebration for us hard workers.
And you can see him swinging a mug of huge ale in his hand, splashing it around on the floor and whatnot as he happily chugs it and slams it down on the table.
Bartender, we need to get these people over here, our wondrous adventurers, a proper gathering. Please, please, the tab's on me.
Boom looks over to him. Was there any reason that you called us?
Well, I'm not going to talk about it here. There's too many ears around if you catch my meaning. Suffice to say, this business is actually down in Fondling. It sorts out. There'll be so much gold to go around, you'll be wearing your short clothes. But no. Listen up. Me and Silda are here. We're leaving for Fondling in the morning. We've got some business down there. It's a bit of a mite urgent. An associate of the mine is putting together a cartload of supplies we'll be needing. But the carts won't be ready until the day after tomorrow. What do you say, bringing it down to Fondling for us? It'll be worth your while. 10 gold for each of you.
So long as we do no wrong, I see no harm in doing it.
Right. Let me just bring up the receipts. Right. There'll be a certain individual, Milo Goodbarrel. You'll see them at the Seven Sons Custom Market. Not to worry, they should be roughly outside, arriving in a good 10 minutes. Here's the receipt, by the way.
He proceeds to hand the receipt over to anyone who is willing to take it from the dwarf.
Boom.
I'll take it.
Okay, which person is getting it?
Omega.
Okay, Omega proceeds to pick up the receipt. Do you proceed to look at it?
Yes, please.
And as you proceed to read it, it says 2 oxen, 1 cart, 12 sacks flour, 3 casks of salted pork, 2 kegs of strong ale, 12 shovels, 12 pickaxes, 12 crowbars, 5 lanterns, and a small barrel of oil. Excuse me, I had a tongue twister. At that point in time, the rather loud, boisterous dwarf, again, speaks out.
You're welcome to, of course, inspect the merchandise and confirm everything is in present and good order. We can't be just dallying around about this important job, you know. Very top secret.
You say it's top secret. Does it is there more to what the receipt says?
No. What I gave you is what is on the card. But listen, all you need is just to meet up with an individual by the name of Milo. Milo. That's all you need to do. He'll give you the cart, he'll give you the mules and everything. And you just need to head on over there.
So, where could we find this Milo character?
I told you. He's at the Seven Suns Coastal Market. It's literally right outside this pirate vessel.
Surely.
Well, I
right.
suppose we shall go and seek him then. Is that
Right.
warrant?
Wonderful. Oh, and by the way, do keep your eyes peeled. I heard that Fandolin is a wonderful little town, but I've got my wits about me, I should say. Even Neverwinter has its troubles. But knowing you adventurers, since you're good friends of me and all, you'll most likely take care of this, no problem whatsoever. I'll be on your way.
And he, of course, with a snap of his fingers and a whisk of his chug of ale, proceeds to have the bartender, wistfully slide a keg of ale, roughly over to the party with large ceramic mugs being present all around them. The party is free to have their drinks, the party is free to have their meals, and practically speaking, Gundred Rockseeker has even tried his best to procure a free night's inn at Fandolin if the party is successful. He even shows forth a receipt of that too.
I lift up my mug and say, "Here, here," and take a big old swig.
The rest of the bar shouts out, and clang their wonderful mugs together.
I'll throw
booze and
back a
everything,
full
spearing everything.
tankard of ale at once, and I'll do so in real life at the same time for LARPing purposes.
Yes, and the beer proceeds to spill all over the place as there's obviously some drunkards in the back. Nonetheless, as the party thankfully enjoys their bountiful spoils for some weird reason, nonetheless gather their equipment and whatnot. You are free to explore the bar as it would be, and if you are ready to head outside, simply say so.
Let's go.
Let's
say it's
depart. Gotta make this gold.
Yes, so if that's the case, and no further ado, the party members proceed to head outside towards the Seven Suns Coastal Market. Of course, located in the heart of Neverwinter's Protector's Enclave, the Seven Suns Coastal Market is an open-air market where merchants set up stalls daily to sell their wares. Once again, great archways lead into the courtyard of a plaster building, decorated in shades of ochre and mustard. Banners of red fabric stretched across the courtyard provide shade for the bustling market below. You can see many crowds of civilians browsing the well-stocked wares that line each wall, some of jewelry, some of potions, some of grandeur shields and weapons. Regardless the case, it seems there is indeed a bustling, busy day in Neverwinter. Nonetheless, you see a rather strange individual, human as it would be. He seems rather short and stout, being roughly 4 feet 5 inches tall, sort of waving you over. He looks as if he's a jester, since he's wearing half blue and half red on his clothing. Nonetheless, the strange man seems to be waving you over. As you can clearly see, there's a few guards patrolling the area, roughly around him, standing guard with their pikes pointed upwards towards the sky. It seems that this young individual has a large cart, literally smack dab in the middle of the market district.
I go up to the gentleman and I compliment him on his pants. I ask him if he is in the performing arts.
No, performer. No, I am Mila the Great. You see, I was hired by wonderful Gundred Rockseeker. He's mentioned that there would be gold and treasure and riches and, of course, adventure. Who could resist such a title? None, I say, none. Although I do look the part of a jester, I am indeed a bard. I will appreciate the effort, though. And thank you. I worked hard on these plans. Oh!
Nonetheless, he does a rather happy jingle as he jumps up and clicks his heel together like a very strange gesture, as it seems. And nonetheless, he then straightens up his axe and proceeds to look over at the party, patting the cart.
Oh, by the way, if you happen to see the widow, Merlin Adderleaf at the Adderleaf Farm in Fandolin, would you be so kind as to give her,
He then pauses for a moment.
my regards?
Boom looks over to him. So just to clarify, you are or are not Milo?
I am Milo. Milo the Great.
So there was this half dwarf, I believe, if I do know my races right, that did send us over here to get the supplies in order to fulfill the quest. So do you have supplies for us?
No, that's what the cult is for. Golden Rockseeker sent you, yes. He mentioned
Yep.
that a group of young, hardy adventurers would come on play. You must be the wonderful ragtag group.
I
I
wouldn't know
do
if
a
I would call.
perception check. I do a perception check and check the card against the receipt and make sure that all the items that Rockseeker requested are there.
Okay, if that's the case, you can do one of two things. Either roll me a perception check, or roll me an investigation check at your whim. This will be your choice, and it'll be in the dice rolls.
I'll just have a look at that.
Thank you.
I'll roll a perception check, please.
Okay, so roll a perception check.
Okay, so that's a D20 in the dice rolls room.
Yes, roll 1d20, and don't forget your modifier.
Omega, can you see? Oh, yeah, I didn't know if you could. Sorry.
I rolled it.
Okay.
It gave me a result of 20.
That is a critical success with a 22. So, interestingly enough, you look at the cart, everything is in pristine order. Not only is everything on the receipt as posted, but there's even everything nicely, neatly packed and everything. It seems as if Grundred Rockseeker and Milo the Great made sure that this stock was in pristine condition. This is in better condition than normal carts that are delivering cargo. Even the mules look like they've been groomed and well washed. The cart looks pristine, as if it's meant to expect royalty itself.
Boom looks over to him. Well, you do call our group wonderful. I just do not know about that yet. However, do you know where we are supposed to take these supplies?
Well, of course, it's over by Fandolin. Remember, I was mentioning there was a wonderful little widow that I wanted you to speak to. The widow Quinleen Adderleaf, at the Adderleaf farm in Fandolin. Would you be so kind as to, well, send her my regards?
What does a widow need for such fine items and such well-groomed mules?
Well, she doesn't need them. I just wanted you to say hello for her. I wanted you to send her my regards, to check up on her.
He seems to pause and look away quietly.
I will not only give her your regards, but I will sing her a song and a poem as well.
He seems to pause at that, sort of just like shake his head left and no very quietly.
I think it's best just for the regards. Besides, these supplies are meant for Morphin's. Morphin's provision store over in the wonderful, wonderful town of Fandolin. It's going to be quite a bit of travel, though. I will let you know. It's quite long. We're 2 days expected.
And you do say the widow's name is Abathine, correct?
Yes. Quinleen Adderleaf. Adderleaf at Adderleaf Farm in Fandolin.
Surely we shall give her your regards.
Thank you!
But other than that, is there anything else that you would want to tell us or that we could do for you before we do go on our quest?
No, not necessarily, unless you would like to do some last-minute shopping. You are another winter, after all. This is the biggest market street in all the Sword Coast.
Well, it is a 2-day trip. Do we happen to have all the supplies that we need for ourselves?
Oh, of course. We even made sure to assign extra rations and the stuff accordingly. If there's anything in the cart that doesn't suit your fancy for you, lot of adventurers, you're more than welcome to explore the market district, but we must be on our way.
Very well. I propose we go on our way.
Yes, let us depart on our quest. Let us briefly pray to the Lord Pelor for protection and guidance upon our journey. I
as
kneel
each
to
and-
pray over my amulet.
As each and every one of you proceed to pile into the cart one at a time, respectively, you notice that the wood is sanded, pristine, painted, everything. This thing is in immaculate condition. Even the seats are cushioned with a very soft, downy leather with feathers all wrapped up on the inside. Whoever even bought this cart must have had a pretty penny on them, or knew somebody who had a pretty penny on them. Nonetheless, this is the lap of luxury itself. As you proceed to say your prayer, you were saying your prayer to your deity there, Shogun?
Yes, I said a silent prayer, I suppose, to my deity while you were speaking. Not just.
Okay, do me a favor and roll a religion check, please.
Sure thing. Not sure what my modifier is offhand. I will check.
Okay, so your religion
one,
specifically, I believe since you are proficient, you have a +3 to religion, excuse me.
Okay, so I just add +3, so I'm rolling 1d20 +3. And
Yeah.
I rolled a 15.
Yes, okay, wonderful. As you finish your prayer, you sort of definitely feel on the inside as if by some profound nature, you feel good about this. Like, this is sort of looking up, but something also stirs on the inside. Like it's mostly sweet, and at the very end, it's bitter. Like, you're on edge for some unknown reason, but you take it as a sign.
The Lord has moved me, brothers, but I do not yet know his will.
Nonetheless, we shall continue onwards, and as the wonderful bard playing their song in the tavern before you begins to slowly fade out, as you begin to exit the wonderful, huge, majestic, and powerful city of Neverwinter, you leave behind you the town as you proceed to head outwards to a brand new day. Roughly 8 o'clock in the morning, as the large wooden gates of the city enter, you exit throughout them, the doors opening wide and the sunshine beaming down your little cart. You proceed to make your way through the wonderful green landscapes and hills abound you. You are heading on the tree-bored trails, and now with the rickety cart moving along, you begin your travels. Excuse me while I go ahead and skip the music. Excuse me. As you all proceed to head down the Trebor trails, this would be a good time to talk amongst each other about the potentials on this adventure. A sort of mystery resigns itself. Gundred Rockseeker did seem quite vague about this wondrous mission for some reason. He acted like as if it was made out of gold, yet it was only paying 10 gold pieces.
Yes, this is true. Does anyone actually understand exactly what our mission is? I am somewhat unintelligent man, easily confused.
So apparently, this man wanted us to go to Milo, which we did to receive a cart, and then we are going to give it to the town of Fatherland. Though the jester did say we talked to Abathine, and that does raise up a good point that I did want to bring to the attention. I don't believe that what's going on is, or at least what they say is what is actually going on. Because first of all, the man wanted to talk about the job outside the barn. Outside the tavern, and then a jester has something to do with the widow. Surely you see this as well.
Well, we shouldn't trust our employers, but we can trust God. And surely God will have a purpose for us as long as we keep our eyes peeled and be on your guard for treachery.
With that being said, Milo, the one manning the cart, of course, looks back to the party.
Everything alright back there, adventurers?
Boom almost
Yes.
spits out because he did not expect Milo to be in the cart. He forgot that for some reason.
Well, who else would you think would man the cart? Of course I would be the one. But I hear your questions and concerns concerning Gungeon Rockseeker. He's actually a friend of the dwarves in the Lathandalan's Miners Exchange. You see, the thing is, though, he's an interesting fellow. He claims to have found a lot of work, but even I don't know what he's brewing in his mind. Whatever the case may be, he's a genius when it comes to business. He is, after all, a proud, esteemed dwarf of the Fandlands Miners Exchange. A miners' exchange that has lived from century to century, and is still going today.
I turn to the group and I say, "This is the easiest job I've ever done. I think I'm going to take a small nap," and I rest my head on one of those plush pillows.
You lay your head softly upon the plush pillow, and as you proceed to do so and feel the wonderful softness of this pillow, please roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Yep. Wisdom, let me see. I got a +1 to wisdom.
You immediately fall asleep. This thing is so soft. It is literally the softest pillow in existence. Merlin proceeds to just immediately fall asleep the second his face touches the pillow.
Boom, noting the words that Milo said, he says, "You know, there is an old proverb at my village that if the truth does not come out by the mouth, it comes out by the sword. So I do hope, on behalf of your sake, what you're saying is true."
Well said.
Not to worry, there will be no swords needed. I would, suggest that you have them on handy. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, correct?
Swords are always needed in my experience.
Well, of course, you're adventurers. You should know this all too well. By the way, it is getting rather late out here. I'd suppose, twilight is almost happening upon us, yes?
It would appear to be even time.
Oh, yes, we've been traveling for quite a while.
I'd like to do an insight check onto what Milo has been saying.
Alright, roll me an insight check, please. Give me 1 second, please. Oh, you're still rolling in. Okay, I thought you finished rolling in. My bad.
Holy cow.
Another one.
That's a critical success. Okay. So, from everything that you've heard this strange man speak, he is telling the truth, but you actually detect a slippin' of sadness in his voice. You remember clear as day that he keeps mentioning a widow, a halfling widow, that seems to be ever so precedented on his mind. From the way he's acting and how he keeps talking about her, it seems as if he's swooning for her. Either that, or he has a bit of resentment from previous transactions. Nonetheless, he apparently wants to make ends meet, hence the regards to Quelline Adderleaf.
I make a suggestion that we take turns staying up throughout the evening, and me having the ability to stay awake longer or take the first shift.
It's wise. There should always be at least one person on watch. I will take some sleep if you're willing to stand guard.
Easily.
And before I go to sleep, I polish my sword and say my prayers and read my Bible. Well, my book of Palor.
And I will cook dinner for anybody who wants to. I offer to cook.
I'll take some of the food before I go to bed.
So even though you're in the midst of the cart, you thankfully brought rations with you. And they being rations of trail mix and rations of jerky. Hopefully cooking would not be recommended in a wooden cart that could easily catch on fire.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nevertheless, we can eat some food together, and we shall break bread.
With that being said and done, all of a sudden, the demeanor in the cart changes as the cart suddenly hits a bump in the road, and you hear what appears to be the mules out front baying, and Milov obviously screaming out, "What is that?"
I wake up, or I attempt to wake up at least.
You wake so easily upon hearing this man speak up.
Is the cart stopped?
The cart is indeed stopped. It seems as though... excuse me. Sorry about that. It seems as though as you look outside, twilight is nearly upon you as you crest one of the many low, round hills that have become quite familiar to you over the last 2 days of travel. Below you in the distance, you see the trailhead where the treeboard trails depart from the high road, heading inland. At the junction that you are currently stopped at, you can see out the window a huge, hulking ogre swinging a massive club at an armored-clad knight and his companion. A horse, presumably the knight's mount, lays dead in the roadway, its head crushed by the ogre's club.
I will.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Max.
Oh, I used my cloak, Mask of the Wild, to watch over as advance party for what is about to happen.
Okay, so since you are casting a spell, do me a favor at this point in time and everybody roll initiative.
What's that, Mister?
Flat 1d20 plus your initiative.
Yeah, that's your dexterity modifier. Please keep that into account, please. Thank you.
I think that means +1 for me.
I can take a look at your character sheet really quickly. Give me 1 second, please, because I have to roll initiative for a lot of things. Combat has just broken out. So, Merlin got a 15 as well. Okay, so that means... And let me know when everybody has finished rolling their initiative, please, and thank you.
I was going to roll it as +1. You can correct me if I'm incorrect about that.
No, it's alright. I'm looking up at your dexterity. Your dexterity is actually +2, so make sure it's a +2 instead of a +1. Please and thank you.
Alright, and does there have to be a space? Because Dexter's roll didn't appear to work.
No, it's...
Does it go 1d20?
It's roll,
+2?
exclamation point, roll 1d20 +2.
42.
That
How's
was...
that possible?
That you rolled a 1d100, actually. You did an I instead of a 1.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, it's important to be careful with that. You're fine. So,
20
we have Omega,
plus
Dex, yours is right there,
2.
Merlin, Omega.
Come on, high initiative. Oh, 13.
Minus 1, 8. please. And you rolled a 13, so got it. Putting down all the proper information because this is important. Right, just one additional moment. Right. Excuse me while I go ahead and skip this music on down the road. Currently, everyone lays in front of the cart, sort of instinctively running out as fast as they can to see a rather large, gigantic ogre with a huge club swinging at a rather hapless knight and his companion. The ogre, obviously, confronting the knight as it is crazed and hungry, swings his large grey club towards the unsuspecting fellow.
Can I cast a prestidigitation to distract the ogre?
So your
who's got the
priest-
first initiative?
Yes. So your what spell were you trying to cast?
It's a cantrip. Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation. So you would have actually been able to cast this in the midst of the orc swinging. What were you trying to do with your
Wait, is
prestidigitation?
this an orc or an ogre? I thought it was
This is an ogre. Excuse me.
Just to distract him from his swing from the knight.
Okay, so as particularly what Merlin's doing this, Omega's doing this?
Merlin.
Merlin, thank you.
is casting this cantrip.
Okay. Merlin, as you reach out with your hand, sort of waving your hand around as a flash of sudden sparks flash in front of the ogre's large eyes, it being rather bright, and it smells of a faint, sharp gunpowder with a dazzling display of lights right in front of the ogre using prestidigitation. You watch as the ogre attempts to swing, but he is definitely distracted by the magic, and he swings with disadvantage.
So who's got the turn?
Currently, it is the ogre's turn. Obviously, Merlin acting quickly with his prior action. His action goes first, then it goes to the ogre, and then we go on to initiative.
Okay.
Just 1 second, please. I just realized the bot cannot read the rolls in the Dungeon Master channel. Biscuits.
Probably have to give it permissions or something.
No, that's alright. I can work around this. Thankfully, Google has a dice roller. This is why you are prepared in case anything comes our way. So, with that being said, this boyo, although angry, swinging his large, gigantic grey club towards the knight takes this opportunity to quickly dodge out of the way before the grey club comes crashing into the ground, dirt flying everywhere in the process. The knight looks quickly over at Merlin and the rest of the adventurers who have intervened in the midst of this, and he gives a thusly thumbs up as he proceeds to pull out his rather beautiful silvered longsword.
Can I
Then goes on down the road. Dex, you're up.
Okie dokie. Okay, so how far away is this ogre from me?
This ogre is approximately 20 feet away.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so if I was to go by it and rage, I wouldn't be able to attack it, correct? Or would the rage help me more?
No, you can actually use your rage as a bonus action.
Sure thing.
You are in combat, so raging is plausible.
But the question is, could I rage and then attack him, or would I rage and then walk up to him?
You would rage, walk up to them, and attack. You have action, bonus action, reaction, free hand action, and your movement. Please keep these into account.
Sure thing. Okay, and then I am going to rage, and then I'm going to go up to the beast and take a swing with my great axe.
please proceed to do so.
Okay. I rolled the 10.
You rolled a 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you run up, yelling madly with your large weapon in both hands, most likely, charging towards this ogre, you try to swing at this large, gigantic, evil monstrosity, but you can't seem to hit it as it stumbles from its previous attack, and you just narrowly missing its leg.
Does my rage end? Or
Your rage still consists.
sweet, okay.
Yes. It goes on down the road. Merlin, you're up.
I pull out my short bow and fire an arrow at him.
Roll to attack.
Check. Let's see. It's a 1d 6 plus 2.
1d20 plus your modifier to hit, and then it's damage. Please keep that in mind.
Okay, that's my initiative roll.
Give me 1 second. That is your combat. So your arrow flies through the air with precision. Flying through the air, it proceeds to stab that large, mean ogre directly in his shoulder. Roll damage.
Oh, I messed up. Hold on.
Derp.
Oh, nice.
So that is 8 points of piercing damage that this large ogre proceeds to take directly in the shoulder. The beast doesn't even seem to notice the sting as he seems entirely focused on the knight. With that being said, it goes on down the line if you have no other actions. Shogun.
I will cry my battle cry, which is Rock Kazak, and I will swing my two-handed greatsword as hard as I can at the ogre with the greatest technique that I can muster.
Roll to smite.
Sorry, I was just in a mod chat. Dice rolls. 1d20. What do I roll? 1d20?
1d20 plus your modifier. In case you're wondering what your to-hit modifier is, it is a +4. 1d20 plus 4.
Thank you.
Yes.
1d20. Sorry. Plus 4. Smite. Did it work?
Your large greatsword easily cuts right into this beast's leg. Roll damage.
That would be 1d12, I believe, for a greatsword? Or is it 2d6?
Actually, no. It's a 2d6 plus 2 slashing damage.
Excellent. Glad I went with the greatsword. Roll 2d6 plus 2. This will be my damage. 9.
Okay, this large ogre, feeling the pain of your rather large, sharpened sword, takes 9 points of slashing damage as it sort of takes a bit of a kneel from the pain and whatnot. It still seems, interestingly enough, focused on the knight, not you. With that being said, it goes over to Omega.
I cast my Sacred Flame cantrip at the ogre's eyes.
Okay, is that a dexterity saving throw or is that roll to hit, sir?
Okay, 1 moment. I add my +4 spell attack, correct?
So if it's a spellcasting modifier, it is a ranged spell attack. It'll be rolling to hit for Sacred Flame, if that is the case. Unless it says that it is a dexterity saving throw, a constitution saving throw, or any other save that requires a DC to succeed or fail, it'll be a ranged spell attack.
Okay, so it gets the +4, correct?
Yes, I would say so, especially if you were proficient and your modifiers are appropriate. So that is an 18. Sacred Flame will land directly on this beast's face. Roll damage.
One D8. Okay. And I get, just before I roll, I get my +2 modifier on that.
No, it's after you roll, so you roll a 1d8 plus 2 for fire damage.
1d8 +2 for fire damage.
Yes, unless it's radiant damage. It's been a while since I looked up that spell.
I think it is radiant damage. So it's just 1d8.
Yeah, so you'll have to. It'll actually show you on your character sheet if it says
It's just
radiant
1d8.
damage.
It's
1d8
just
radiant
1d8
damage.
for my radiant damage.
Okay, radiant damage. Okay, go ahead and roll damage, please.
Rolling.
This large ogre proceeds to take 7 points of radiant damage, and it is screaming out as this blasts of wonderful light and dazzling display of magic hits this thing directly in the face. With that being
Do
said,
I have any moves left?
you have movement, yes, but you don't necessarily have any bonus actions, do you?
I use whatever actions or movement I have to then draw my shield and warhammer.
Okay, so if you have recently casted a spell, you do have a free action. However, if you are attempting to stow the arcane focus in your hand, which is used to cast spells, you at that point in time need to use your action to put it away. However, you just used your action to cast the spell. Therefore, if you freehand action dropped it on the floor, you would have free hands to equip your weapons. But of course, this is underneath the premise of free hands, actions, and stuff like that. It depends if you felt like dropping your magical orb to equip your melee weapons.
Oh, I don't like the sounds of that. I just
So you
I
use
move- I move 25. I use my full move. Can I use my full move?
Yes, you can. Your full
I
movement
move
speed
my
is there.
full
also.
move away from the melee.
Okay, so you move 30 feet backwards. Okay, got it. So you successfully move 30 feet away from the cart and the large ogre. You are roughly 50 feet away from this large behemoth.
Okay, and I end my turn.
With that being said and done, it goes over to the other party member, Massimiliano. If I can even say your name correctly. Excuse me, can I just call you Max?
Max is fine.
Max, got it. Oh, thank you.
I come out of hiding. They use the scimitar to strike the ogre.
You rush in quickly with your 30 feet movement speed and proceed to strike. Roll to attack.
So I use that, so that's a +4, right? If I remember correctly.
It is a 1d20 plus 4. Your modifiers will tell you what your to hit is. If you are proficient with a weapon and you have a +2 to dexterity or strength, it will apply.
That's the dexterity. Okay. The hit is +4.
Yes, your to hit is +4. Oh, that is a 9. Although you rush in quickly with your scimitar ready to strike the back of this beast, it doesn't seem to quite penetrate its hide. This thing is quite tough and it's rather bumbling buffoon, but still, you can't seem to quite land your hit on it.
Can I still cast a spell?
No, you have used your action to melee attack.
Okay.
Yes. With that being said, it goes on down the line to the knight that was recently attacked. You can clearly see from the look of this knight, he is actually bloodied. and he has like sweat dripping down his face, and his armor is heavily damaged.
Can I use a heal to heal the knight?
No, you have already used your action to attack.
Oh, sorry.
Nonetheless, obviously the wounded knight, nonetheless clenching onto his two-handed sword, rushes in, speaking in common.
You'll never get the best of me. I'll show you the glory of pain. Whoosh!
And he swings his large greatsword straight towards this very angry, very, very hungry, and very mistaken ogre. And he rushes in. He's going to nail that large greatsword right against the belly of this beast. Here. This large ogre is going to take a total of... That is 7 points of slashing damage straight to the gullet of this large ogre, and this thing is screaming out in pain. It's quite wounded, but not yet bloodied. With that being said, the valiant knight, nonetheless, trying his best, also makes another swing with his blade. He has had enough of this beast and swinging again. This blade's coming across sideways the other direction, makes an X across the same exact cut, slashing right through this large beast as it is now bloodied, as it proceeds to take approximately 8 points of slashing damage. This large ogre is now bloodied as it is sort of kneeling down, clutching its wounds and holding onto its large great club. Nonetheless, groaning out in a horrific, demonic state. With that being in mind, the knight's companion also springs to action, and she is going to run over to the individual, and she is going to cast Cure Wounds at first level. She quickly rushes over to the knight, laying her hands upon his ghastly wounds. The magic proceeds to penetrate his armor, a bright line shining within, as this knight proceeds to heal 10 points of health. No longer wounded and standing back on his feet, the knight nods in a courteous but valor kind of thank you. And it goes back to the top. The ogre, being angry at the scene of all of this, rages and screams out, swinging his great club up and down in the air, ready for battle. This ogre, this large ogre, looking around at the fray, decides to take his anger out upon the cart instead. And he is going to obviously march 30 feet towards the cart, moving 20 feet inwards. With this in mind, he is going to exit the party's 5 feet movement space. Everybody gets an attack of opportunity upon this ogre.
Let's go, boys. Do we have to roll to hit?
Yes, all of you proceed to roll to hit with whatever melee weapon you have.
Okay.
I want to go on with the scimitar.
Yes, you'll swing with your scimitar.
Roll.
So Merlin is going first with. Is that Merlin's swing right there?
Yeah, that's my swing. Can I
What is
still?
that? What is that weapon, Merlin?
Well, I have a short bow, but is it getting too close to range? Can I still fire it, or do I need to pull out my dagger?
No, you can still fire your arrow at him.
Okay.
Because he exited your reign of combat, you can easily use your reaction to have an attack of opportunity. You would be shooting with your bow. So, Merlin, please roll damage since you have attacked first.
And FYI, I did roll and I got a 16, by the way.
Your attack would also hit, but please one person at a time.
Oh yeah, I understand.
So, Merlin, roll damage. This large ogre is going to take 6 points of piercing damage as an arrow penetrates through the other side of his shoulder.
Should I roll for damage?
Yes, you should now roll, Dexter, for your damage. This large beast is going to take 10 points of slashing damage from your sword, correct?
Great axe.
Your great axe.
Yep.
Thank you. It was either a great sword or a great axe. I was trying to remember. You take a huge chunk out of this boyo's kneecaps. And with that being said, Shogun, are you attacking as well?
Yeah, until the ogre is dead, I'm going to keep swinging my greatsword at it.
Yeah, you have an opportunity attack, so Max, did you roll your opportunity attack or no? That is a 5. No, you have to roll to attack before you can roll damage, Max. Okay, that is a critical hit. Roll double damage, please. So this means you're going to be rolling 2d6 plus 2 for your scimitar. As you literally jump into the air and drive your blade directly into his back. This large ogre is going to take 7 points of slashing damage, and he is obviously feeling the pain. Shogun, are you going to deliver your finishing blow? And I believe, Omega, did you swing as well? Omega, did you swing as well?
I will use
Not
dice
yet.
rolls. 1d20
Yes.
plus 4, I believe, is my modifier.
Okay, so Omega, if you would like to roll first, you can do so.
Okay.
So, is that to hit? Yeah, I would say that's to hit. This is your... What weapon are you using?
The Warhammer.
Alright, go ahead and proceed to crack his kneecaps.
So maybe
Roll damage. This large ogre is going to take 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
I rolled as
And
well.
Shogun
since
has
he rolled
this-
as after.
Yes, as this large ogre, obviously getting his kneecap literally broken by a warhammer, crumples down, proceeds to fall face first directly into Shogun's blade. Your
Which I
blade
heavily I hit.
proceeds
Sorry.
to strike.
So I roll 2d6 plus what? 4?
2d6 plus 2
Plus 2.
slashing damage. In this instant, it'll be piercing though. 8 points of piercing damage. So right as this ogre taking the final blows to both kneecaps, falling on his knees, proceeding to fall forward on his face away from the car, Shogun acting quickly, drives his blade directly through the chin of this beast and straight through his head. And this thing is defeated.
Hallelujah, amen.
The
Huzzah.
party is no longer in initiative.
Boom makes haste to grab the orc's great club.
Boom immediately proceeds to loot the party.
By the way, it's still not an orc. Been an ogre all along.
Yeah, sorry. That it was an ogre. I said orc like once or twice. That is my fault. Excuse me.
So
it's
great
Dex
club.
kept mistaking them. Yeah, an orc is a green-skinned being, larger and more muscular than a human, but an ogre is like almost like a pseudo giant, much
Yeah,
larger than an ogre.
basically, you were fighting an ogre. Sorry about that. I said orc. I meant to say ogre. Bleh.
My bad.
Yeah, no.
It's okay. It just so you understand, an ogre is about 3 times larger than an orc.
No,
so
no, no.
Oh,
His
yeah,
build was quite a lot larger.
I did
No,
picture
I
it
was-
being huge.
No. This boyo was an ogre. I don't know why I kept saying orc. I apologize
Because
for
Dexter
that.
did. It's fine.
I
Also,
just kept...
Boom,
Oh, goodness.
Boom
Here's a
wants to
question.
see if there's any other loot on the ogre.
Aside from the ogre's, well, great club, it seems like the only thing upon this ogre was his ugly face, which is
But what
obviously
is,
no longer alive.
What is the fate of the knight? Is the knight still alive?
You look over at the knight, and his companion carefully. And you breathe a soft sigh of relief as you see the shuffling knight, with his, although he is wounded, he is no longer bloodied, walking towards the party.
I will attend to. I believe I can lay on hands. I can heal this gentleman. True.
Yes, you can. You are a paladin.
I would like to heal the wounded knight with my lay
Are
on
you using
hands.
your entire pool of healing?
Yes, I will use it all.
So you would
be the purpose God has intended it for.
Yes. So your lay on hands pool. All right. So basically, you can restore 5 HP because each and every point is 1 HP. You use up your entire lay on hands pool as you touch this man's wounds. Thinking quickly, and the benevolence of your deity shining upon you through the sunlight, an essence of magical aura sears through your hands onto this knight. In an essence of valor and respect, the knight sort of gives a subtle nod up and down as he restores 5 points of healing. You can definitely see he's still wounded, but he's almost back to as if he never had the wounds. He's got a bits of scratches here and there, definitely from the large club that has clobbered him previously. His chain links upon his large plate meal being rather dinged and bent, but nonetheless he seems to be quite healthy.
I check on his horse.
Say again?
I check on his horse. Is his
The horse is.
alive?
You look over at the horse and it's just split in two. It's literally a pancake horse, but it's like 2 pancakes that are just a red, gooey mess.
I put my hand on Milo and I ask him if he's okay.
You see Milo is clearly passed out. And he's literally, at this point in time, falling off the cart and face planting into the ground.
Boom looks over to the knight. Is there any reason you are fighting an orc? Should we be careful treading this path?
The knight proceeds to obviously sheath his blade and give a subtle bow with one hand in front of him and one hand behind him, as noble knights do. His partner, again, doing the same gesture.
Alas! I apologize for that intrusion. I am Bartolome. This, my dear compadres, is Sithra Greymore. You see, I was originally traveling on my way to Phandalin. But then that beast, that huge beast, I swear, it must have came from the hills, seeking a meal, and it clobbered me hiding amidst the tree over there. I didn't see it coming, none at all.
Well, you should know that to me, gold means much more than any vow. However, have these orcs been doing this recently? Has this always been a phenomenon, or is it just a new thing?
It's a freaking ogre.
These ogres, yes. These ogres, they have been a problem for quite a while, you see. And,
Well, maybe there's a bounty on their heads.
well, there is, yes. But I will say this, my squires. The town of Phandalin requires our aid. We were actually going over there as a galleon to help protect the town. There's been rumors here and there of some troublemakers. Ruffians, you know the type. Sithra will tell you more.
And you see this rather intriguing looking woman approach you. She has like pure snow white hair and glowing blue eyes. As she proceeds to approach, she speaks softly as if her words are made of honey.
My name is Sithra Greymore. I come from the hills myself. I was following our valiant knight over here, Bartolome de Vasa. You see, our goal originally was to head to Phandalin. There's been a lot of rumors going on, and we were there to scent upon our wonderful king of Avalon. the wonderful king named Avalon. Excuse me. Oof. That battle winded me a little bit. The king of Neverwinter, Avalon is his name. Nonetheless, we appreciate your efforts. For the time being, though, I suppose we got off on a rather interesting introduction, I should say.
And
If I may, my lady, are you wounded? Are you in any way in trouble? Or are you
No,
not
I
safe?
am not wounded myself. It seems that the bot over here, bot took the brunt of that beast. And I'm glad you intervened when you did. I was not sure the two of us could take it alone.
God clearly intended that you should not perish this day.
Oh, indeed, indeed, indeed. Ah,
We should escort
you
you
have
back
to
to
forgive
safety. Perhaps
You
to
had
Mulmore
to-
Castle. Pardon me.
no, it's quite alright. You see, I am a fellow human, as is Bartolome. Bartolome is a Torami knight. I am a Eluskan priest of Torm.
Can you tell me of the deity Tor?
Torm,
Can I
yes.
roll a yeah, you can tell me.
Roll a religion check, please.
Okay.
Can I also roll a religion check?
Yes.
Check. Sorry. I should be copied and pasted into the text. Ready
Yes.
to go. Dice rolls. This would be a 1d20, correct? Plus.
Yes. In
plus
case
3.
you're wondering, this is a 1d20 plus 3 for your religion check.
I got it correct. Alright, 1d20 plus 20. Why does that look wrong? Sorry, I'm still kind of bad at rolling the dice.
You're fine. You're fine.
20.
As you were sort of
Plus
scratching your chin,
There we go. Okay.
excuse me. As you were scratching your chin softly, trying to think very carefully at this deity, since you have unfortunately rolled incorrectly again.
I apologize. I see what I did.
You're fine. Scratching your chin, Bartolone and Sithra sort of introduced themselves with their wonderful bow, as previously mentioned.
We
There
are
it is.
both members of the Order of the Gauntlet, who are traveling the high road north from Waterdeep. It's to investigate reports of disturbances along the way. This particular ogre had previously robbed and killed a traveling cheesemonger, a farmer as you would. You see, we tracked this thing and tried to slay it before it caused any other problems. Of course, it was in the midst that we didn't expect it to ambush us instead.
Well, the beast is dead now. Also, I have rolled a 20 for my religion check. I wish to know of the nature of the deity Tor.
Listen, travelers, this is not an isolated incident. Others of this order, my order, the Order of the Gauntlet, have reported that giant attacks elsewhere in the region. Part of this mission, obviously, is to collect intelligence from my colleagues in Neverwinter. I will say, we were headed to Neverwinter, but it seems if you were heading somewhere. Were you heading to Fatherland?
We just left Neverwinter, so we can give you news of that land. Also,
Good. As our patrons would say. Are the townspeople doing good there?
they seemed in good spirits. Extremely good spirits, actually.
Wonderful. Then
Seemed like
that
a bunch
means
of
the
drunken
celebrations
pirates,
are in order, and things have been relatively peaceful. I'm glad the gods are doing their job. Alas, you mentioned you were heading to Fatherland. Here, this is for you. It's a parchment. Please, bring the parchment to Dan at Edamath Orchards in Fatherland. It's very important.
Thank you,
What is
brother.
it for?
Well, you see, Dan is a retired adventurer and fellow member of the Order. You see, he is quite knowledgeable, and he resides in family. He resides also in Fatherland as well. You see, even though he is a proud, esteemed member of the Order of the Gauntlets, he's a retired adventurer and has lived his days. I suggest you speak with him. He'll be over at Edomath Orchards in Fandolin.
You see that just like your time, our time is limited, and we do have. So, I would ask that you pay us at least something for doing this for you.
He then pauses for a slight moment. Roll me a persuasion check, please.
This is why I have charisma, boys.
God doesn't ask for gold to kill monsters,
But
may
humans
ask for
do.
what you wish.
Can I use my passive senses to see what kind of the quality of person they are, whether they're good or bad person in general?
Roll me an insight check, please. What is your passive insight?
Passive insight is 12.
Passive insight is 12. Okay, give me just 1 second, please. Okay, so both you, Max, and Dexter. So first, Max, you were trying to check and see what kind of person this was. You can definitely see that this is a knight of valor. This is a knight of order. This is a paladin.
Also, did I ever obtain any information for my religion check?
Okay, so your religion check from a 20 regarding the deity that they spoke about, which was...
Tor.
Yes, the deity of Tor, or in this case, Torm. Torm, T-O-R-M, the Eluskan priest of Torm. It seems as though Torm is a benevolent deity, one known for their wisdom, but one of peace and healing.
Well, brother in the faith then.
And I also did roll an 18.
Okay, so your 18 for persuasion. The Knight of Valor seems to pause softly, scratching his chin and looking over at the dead ogre that lays with nobody else that's injured. And he seems to scratch his chin, looking over at Dexter specifically. Nodding up and down, he reaches into his pack. He proceeds to procure a generous amount of gold for each and every one of the party members. All party members at this point in time proceed to get 5 gold pieces. He then says out in common, obviously,
Alas, I could not let no good deed be unknown. Praise be for your efforts, and I suppose it is the right thing to do. Thank you, especially since we were originally trying to head to Fandolin, and, well, not Fandolin. We were coming from Fandolin. We were headed to Neverwinter, and since you adventurers seem to be the helping lot, we could use all the help we could get in the Order of the Gauntlets. Thank you, and please bid you safe travel. It's quite
Actually,
late.
brother, before you leave, I would like you to tell me what you can about the Order of the Gauntlet as a brother knight and a member of my own order, the Order of the Sacred Sun. I'd be curious to know about your order.
he seems to nod up and down.
The Order of the Gauntlet. Well, you see, we are adventurers. We are noble men of high order and of low people, of peasantry and of soldiers. We come from all walks and likes of land far beyond. I mentioned we were originally from the northwest, over by Fandolin. It was known specifically by Waterdeep.
Well, it was an honor, brother, and may God keep you safe, and may we meet again upon our trails. Perhaps we'll have another opportunity to help the Order of the Gauntlet before too long.
Definitely. We'll be keeping our eyes upon you, travelers. For all we know, you yourselves might be knighted as the Order of the Gauntlet. And may we cross paths again.
He then,
Amen.
breaks out his long sword, drawing it slowly, does a soft, putting his blade upon the ground, putting it to the side, and twirling it around with a nod, putting it upon his head before sheathing it, as the other individual by the name of Sithra does the same with their dagger. Sort of as a valiant act of valor and respect upon the adventurers. Milov still being face down, and as you notice, they have been face down in a pile of dung.
Why don't you get up there now, young Milov? Or old, I don't remember.
Milo. Milo has been face down in a pile of dung the entire time.
I go over to Milo and pull him out of the dung.
You proceed to pull this poor man out of the mud and ruckus of the dirt, obviously, trying your best to dust his face off and clean it off with whatever you had available, most likely a rag or whatnot. And you sort of take a separate rag and softly pat him across the face as he sort of snaps awake.
An irritating character, you.
Can I do a spell?
Are you
What
okay,
kind of-
Milo?
What kind of spell are you doing?
I want to create water so for people to drink.
Okay. Do you have that spell equipped? Yes? Are you using a first level spell slot?
I am.
Okay, so you proceed to cast the spell. Where are you creating water?
It
I
says
think you can do it.
It says I
his
create
hands.
water. Yeah, create or destroy water as a druid. 1A touch.
So, like,
You
where
come out of
are
his
you?
hands or from
Where
the tree,
where?
as I recall?
No, I mean like you're creating water, but where are you creating water? How are you creating water? I mean, like, are you pouring water out of your hands or?
I'm magically out of the tree.
No, I mean like I'm trying to think.
Well,
how exactly...
he's saying out of a tree. He said so. He'll make the water from a tree.
No. I mean like in the. I know like the tree is nearby, but you're kind of slurping the water from the tree to create the water. I'm just trying to think. This man reaching out his hand and suddenly he becomes a water hose.
No, Moses in the desert, he struck a stone with his staff and he made water come forth from the stone. So in the same way I'm imagining right now, and you can tell me if you're imagining differently, Massimiliano is touching this tree and creating a fountain of water from the tree.
Okay, okay, that's all that I needed to know. Okay, so you reach forth with your hand, you tap it softly with your fingertips, and a hole begins to form as beautiful fountain water begins to flow from the tree in a beautiful, short spigot kind of fashion. It spews
And we
out up to the
drink.
ground.
I drink freely from the fountain. Thanks to Massimiliano for the sacred water.
Anytime. It's for everyone.
Nonetheless, with your
I help-
wonderful sacred water being consumed from the tree, bountiful spoils obviously resting a breath of fresh air since you have delegated the combat appropriately, and the knight and their companion seem to be getting upon the lone horse that remains, aside from the dead one that's in the ground, and hopping on.
I would like to take an action if I could. I would like
what
to
exactly are you doing?
I would like to behead the ogre with my greatsword and then hang its head from a tree.
You proceed to swing with your sword, decapitate the large beast, and grab its rather thin, ugly hair on its head, and proceed to dangle it upon the tree, sort of rolling the body over to where it's hiding most likely behind the tree. And in the
I'll
bushes.
finally carve the sacred symbol of my religion into the said tree.
You proceed to do so. Obviously, Milo looking onward, and the knight and whatnot looking onward, sort of in a perplexed, puzzled tone, but thankful nonetheless that the adventurers have rescued them. With it now being roughly twilight at this time, midnight, after all the travel and all the combat that the parties had experienced, they look over across the hills and whatnot and realize that Phandalin is within reach, roughly only a few miles away. It seems that a specific free night's inn, based upon the receipt given to you by Gundren Rockseeker, would be greatly appreciated to be able to, obviously, rest well in the fabled Phandalin Stonehill Inn. Obviously, the rest of the party gathering up their equipment and waving goodbye to the knight and their fellow companion on the lone horse, they get back into the cart, which thankfully is not damaged at all. You head towards Phandalin, making your travel rather peacefully, rather quietly, until, lo and behold, you finally reach the wonderful, wonderful, delicate, peaceful, and enjoyable town of Phandalin. You can obviously hear the crickets chirping softly as it is roughly midnight at this time, entering the town of Phandalin. It seems as though that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful town of Phandalin is a bit different than you originally expected. Perhaps it was by the age of this town. Perhaps it's by the location. Perhaps of how far away it is originally. Perhaps this, perhaps that. You're unsure of what exactly is causing you to think this way on the essence at hand and the thoughts behind the talk of ruffians and whatnot. But nonetheless, it seems to be a wonderful essence of breath air, being able to breathe a soft sigh of relief. Your cart at hand, and the town of Phandalin before you. Obviously. The rutted track emerges from a wooden hillside, and you catch your glimpse of Phandalin as you come closer. The town consists of 40 or 50 simple log buildings, some built on old fieldstone mountains and foundations. More old ruins, crumbling stone walls covered in ivy and briars, surround the newer houses and shops, showing how this must have been a much larger town in centuries past. Most of the newer buildings are set on the side of the cart track, which widens into a muddy main street, as it sorts to climb in towards a ruined manor house on a hillside at the east side of town. As you approach, you see it's rather quiet. There's nobody around. It seems that you have arrived safely in the town of Phandalin, with the Stonehill Inn being nearby.
Boom looks at the party. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but after fighting an ogre, I'm very tired. We should definitely get to sleep now.
I agree. We've earned some rest, and God has delivered us safely through another day of peril. So we should make our prayers and then retire, for another day of adventuring dawns soon.
With that being said, Milo proceeds to nod to the adventurers, obviously bringing the cart around to Borthen's provisions and sort of tying up the donkeys and whatnot along with the rest of the cart. He mentions that he's going to sleep in the cart to make sure that no ruffians get to the cart and whatnot. However, he does wish the party adieu for until the morning. As he speaks out in common.
Adventurers, well, that was quite crazy indeed. I do say that perhaps in the morning we will see each other and thusly give these provisions to Barthens. After all, he owns a provisional store. For the time being, though, you do still have that receipt that Gundren Rockseeker gave you for the free night's inn, yes?
Yes, I have it.
Wonderful, wonderful. You should give that to Barthen. Toodaloo for now. It's best I get some rest. Whew.
And he proceeds to head back in further into the cart, and you can just hear the man just faceplant into a pillow and just like snoring.
I hand the receipt to whoever has the highest charisma in our group.
I mean, I'm not sure. That would, maybe a bard. Charisma,
I have a
Colorado,
+6.
That would be you then.
Boom looks to Omega. Well, surely, if the innkeeper is asleep, we already have our tin, of course. We could just go ahead and take it right now, and in the morning we can show him the note that we have.
With that being said,
Oh, go ahead.
with that being said, the party will proceed to head to the Stonehill Inn, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. The party heading onwards towards the Stonehill Inn. Obviously, they step towards the grassy tomes that lay scattered across the ground from the patches of grass here and there growing. Phandalin appears to be a luscious little town. Very delicate, very quiet, very pristine, and as you look up in the night sky before you reach the Stonehill Inn, you can see the northern lights shining in brims of blue, green, and yellow across the sky. It's quite beautiful, quite peaceful. And as you sort of yawn softly, gazing up at the sky, each and every one of you gain a point of inspiration.
Awesome.
I feel inspired.
So you realize what inspiration does, correct?
No.
No.
Okay. So in essence, in the D&D sessions that I will be hosting, a point of inspiration means that if you decide, you roll an ability check and it is not what you believed it to be, I will allow you to roll with advantage, and this will allow you to roll an additional d20 to attempt the same check, and you would take the higher one. Normally in D&D 5th edition rules, inspiration allows you to re-roll, but keep the roll after you said inspiration. Me, I would say inspiration allows you to negate critical fails, and simply you have a higher chance of succeeding with other tasks you are doing, whether it be a saving throw, an ability check, an attack, or anything. It is free advantage on one thing and one thing only.
Got it. So that gives us a once a day boost. Something we
No,
try
it's
and
not
do.
a once a day thing. It is until you use that
one
point of
time.
inspiration. Yes,
I
it is a
see.
one-time
One
pony.
time.
It's a one-time pony, yes.
Understood.
So please be sure to apply that. With that being said, you proceed to enter the wonderful Stonehill Inn as the clamor is practically zero in the bar. You enter softly, sort of kicking your boots upon the doorstep before you enter, from a tiny little bronze bell above the door as the bartender sort of grudgingly looks over. He appears to have fallen asleep at the bar, but nonetheless snaps slightly awake upon greeting his customers.
Ui! Oh, sure, spawn. I didn't expect to see customers over here. What brings you to Phandalin?
And I did not expect to live today, actually. We had got in a pretty gruesome battle, although we do have a free night and we are interested in using.
A free night in, you say? Well, you surely have a receipt for that, yeah?
Yes, we do.
You proceed to procure your free nights in from Gundred Rockseeker.
Can we have a pint of ale and some roast beef or sheep?
As he's looking over the receipt carefully, he seems to nod up and down.
Well, I'll be darned. It's true. You do have a receipt. I suppose that mentions the payments we received prior. You're more than welcome to, rest. Breakfast will be served appropriately, as is our customs in Phandalin and Stonehill Inn. I am Tobin Stonehill. A pleasure to meet your acquaintance, adventure. For the time being. Oh, sure, Bones. You'll have to forgive me if I was sleeping on the job. We haven't had much outsiders here to our town recently. But if you would like to have something, unfortunately, the kitchen is a bit closed. But it'll be in the morning. You'll have a breakfast on the house.
Though,
Does that
No, I don't.
include second breakfast as well? Us halflings like second breakfast.
He looks over at the halfling, then sort of scratches his chin quietly.
maybe I can fix something.
And he proceeds to head into the kitchen, and you hear the clattering of pans and the clattering of whatnot, so to speak.
So the dude's in the kitchen, right?
Yes, the dude is in the kitchen.
Is there any gold coins on the counter at all? Or any coins at all?
There is nothing on the counter whatsoever. Perhaps maybe a rag that the bartender was using to wipe up the countertops, but that's it. And possibly what appears to be a half-drank pint of mead hidden beneath the countertop that you can barely see out of your peripheral vision from your
Sure thing.
passive perception.
So Boom calls out to him. Well, we did come in with a shipment of supplies. Who do you know who we would have to give that to?
You hear him shout out, "Hold on, Charles Bones!" And you can hear him just like trying to fumble with the dishes and whatnot as he runs on over, procuring obviously a huge assortment of different dishes and whatnot. Uh, Mainly the same dish, but sort of multiplied. You're probably thinking about Portland's provisions, yes. I believe the shipment was for him. If you need be, talk to Tobin Stonehill. He'll be sure to help you out.
I just could not hear that name. Could you repeat it to me again?
Tobin Stonehill. That's
Is-
me. That's me. But you need to talk to Townmaster Harmonmaster. If you do need to truly confirm the stuff, but I believe your shipment is for Barthen's provision. Barthen, you know, the provisional man. He owns the store, general store. It's around the corner.
Sure thing. And with that, I would like to turn in if the party is ready to.
Yeah, we can turn in. I have to sharpen my sword, do 100 push-ups, and pray. But
This man apparently is training to become One Punch Man. Nonetheless, you sit down and have your wonderful, beautiful, juicy, luxurious lamb chop with some mashed potatoes and what appears to be a beautiful, delicious, crisp baked apple. Enjoying your wonderful meal with whatever drinks you would desire for the night, and then thusly settling in with your keys in hand, obviously heading upstairs to your room, there being a bed for each and every adventurer and a room for each and every adventurer accordingly. It's rather quaint. It's not the best. It's definitely worse than Neverwinter, but it's still quite quaint. An average room for an average party, as it seems.
Since I don't require much sleep, I'm inclined to take a walk just to see the town because I have also night vision as well.
Yes, but I would request for the time being, you are going to be traveling alone if you're doing that, and you still need a long rest.
Oh, okay, and I'll sleep. Thank you.
Yes. This is something that if you wanted to do, we could get in, further on down the road. If you wanted to go out and about and explore without your party members, you would have to at least do your party members a favor and say, "Hey, I'm going for a walk. Bye." Since most of your party members would be asleep, that might be
well,
a bit
I think we're going to conclude our adventure here.
Yeah.
Feels like a
Practically.
natural point
Right.
to do so. So if you want to go investigate the town, we'll do that at the beginning of the next session. I think. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
As you proceed to rest through the night, it being rather quiet, rather peaceful, and of course, a soft smile on each and every one of your faces, you're a bit sore, as it would be from the long hours of sitting, long hours of travel, the conversations you've had, the strange people you've met, and of course, the encounter with that large ogre. You try to meditate, try to process everything you've gone through. All of the party members proceed to reach level 2.
Woot.
Please proceed to
Awesome.
update your character sheets accordingly, and we will conclude.
Thank you. That was
I just-
excellent, Nayrb. Very
Just
enjoyable
before
game.
concluding, the first thing I do when I wake up is I clean my Warhammer fry pan.
No, I understand. Like, I forgot to mention, like, you being what, dishpan and
Yeah.
yeah, you being dishpan and you actually have a frying pan, but it has the stats of a warhammer. I completely forgot to mention that to even include the sound effect of your large frying pan, full on cracking the kneecaps of an ogre. Poing.
All right. Well, that was a great question. Thank you, Nayrb. We appreciate the time and effort it takes to be a dungeon master, and this is great content for the Roundtable podcast, and also very
Definitely.
enjoyable for me as a player. As I said, I used to be the DM when I was a kid, so it's actually pretty new to me to be a player and enjoying it.
We did level up though, right? I
Yes,
We all
everybody-
gained a level
Yes,
and
everybody.
gained 5 gold.
Yes,
Thank you.
everybody gained 5 gold previously from the encounter with the noble knight of the gauntlet, and mentioned that, excuse me, there will be quite a few quests for the players to do. If you need any kind of notes taken on those quests, you can refer to each other, refer to the dungeon master, and ask, "Hey, what is our next goal?" Or in character, of course.
I
that's
suggest
delegated
that
to
we
the next
give
time.
Dexter the official role of keeping track of our quests. He seems to be good at understanding what we're supposed to be doing.
Sure thing.
So-
Okay, so then we
So
have.
you basically, Dexter would be the one that is the quest tracker, so to speak, in
Yeah,
the
I've been-
party.
I would propose that, yeah.
I have a notepad already on like the details and the quest. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
he's a keen young lad. Eager.
Indeed,
So.
indeed. Without further ado, thank you all for joining, and for those listening into this right now, we greatly appreciate this. And there's more to come. This is just the very first session of the Lost Mines of Fandelver, and we hope that you are all enjoying yourselves, and we hope to see you next time. Shogun,
Thank
I'll
you very
turn it over
much.
to you.
Thank you very much. So we conclude our first official recorded Roundtable Dungeons and Dragons session, and we will have this as an ongoing living campaign for the foreseeable future. So please tune in. Join us on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, you name it, we're there. Check out the Minecraft server, but above all, join us on Discord, where we do everything. That being said, let's conclude this wonderful game and jump up to Roundtable 1 and check on our friends up there, see what they're talking about. There will be a chess tournament hosted by Dex. Sir Dexter, tonight at 8. Thank you for organizing that. That's a great idea. I will not be playing because my attention span has become too low for chess, but that will be a very good game. And tomorrow, we will be having 2 special events. One at 3 p.m. will be an event on Islam with Brother Benny, who is a devout and sincere Muslim. And the second will be on Young Earth creationism with Brother Edward, who is a devout and sincere Young Earth Christian. And we'll be talking about Young Earth creationism. So both of these will be very interesting events happening tomorrow. And if you like chess, play it tonight in 3 hours. No, 4. Yeah, 3 hours.
And yep, and 3.
All right, great. So we'll see you guys up at Roundtable 1. Thank you all very much.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
thanks, Aaron.